Welcome back, guys. Dedikted here. You guys have been asking me to do an update on my build. It's been a while since I've done a couple videos. So I came out to the Jed Ring to hit I like the dummies out here better than the Stronghold or Protector's Enclave. They're a little bit closer. I can hit a little bit more on the Dazing Strike if I need to. This is a Saboteur Scoundrel build. It's what I pretty much run. I do have a video a couple months ago that I run a Saboteur Executioner build. I found this one to be a lot better, only because the 10% increase in press advantage, which I use impossible to catch, it's after buffed power. So technically, if I have 80,000 power and I use ITC for that bit of time that it's available, it's like increasing your damage by, power by 8,000, which is 20% more damage. Which is actually more than these, like either combination of these three will give you. And then this one, I like running Dying Breath as opposed to this one. These both have parameters I don't like. Like this one, they have to get really low in hit points, or this one, something has to die. These are very situational, as opposed to this one's active at all times. Increased, so it's better for, personally, it's better all around to get 1 feet equal to 2 or so damage of 2, and then this is equal, happens all the time, as opposed to these parameters here. I'd rather take the parameter on this one, whatever. So let's go over the stuff I picked. I have if you looked at my gear or my stats, I'm a high power AP gain rogue, low crit build. You see my crit's pretty low. Even on my companion, I have the crit's only there because it's legendary. So power. So anyway, going back to the feats, at AP gain, so I have action advantage, 10% additional action points for dealing combat advantage damage. I don't care for crit. I'm a low crit build. I put some points into maximum hit points just to move on to Cunning Amateur. This move actually stacks with damage, coming in and out of stealth constantly. It lasts for 6 seconds, but if you go in stealth and then go in again, you'll actually can stack this a couple of times, 2-3 times, if you can get it fast enough, like go in and out of stealth fast enough. I put 3 points there, then I put 5 points here. My build is based around stealth, so I dodge roll all the time. Might as well fill the bar up a bit. It does help just a tad, especially like Demogorgon when you're dodging out of FBI, and you'll see why. This I didn't believe actually increased the damage as much. I technically found personally that I like these ones better, and I'm a drow, so I don't have the extra 3 points. At wills are a huge portion of your damage, so I put 3 points here. It gives me 2 left over. I put into encounter powers. Why not? So we'll go over here. Right here, I go through the feats. Right here it says entering stealth reduces your cooldowns by 10%, hence why I put things here. I'm trying to get my stealth back as quick as possible. So 5 points in here. Every time you stealth, reduce cooldown by 10%. It's almost equal to some sort of, it's like a recovery style feat. Then I put flashing blades. When your stealth meter is not full, you do 5% more damage. It's almost, yeah, wills do. It's almost technically always not full. I never hold on to it. Even anytime you're even using lurkers or anything, it actually diminishes almost at all times. So it's really kind of a thing that just increases your at will damage pretty much all the time. Very close to all the time. And then this one here, daily power reduces cooldowns by 15%. Again, I run a high AP gain build. I get my cooldowns very quickly. Is reduced. I don't go for this because it's crit chance. This one in the other video I had did have this. You really have to use an encounter power that has charges on it, and the only 2 you technically can use. You can use 3. There's Impact Shot, there's Wicked Reminder, and there's Blade Flurry. Blade Flurry is one of my favorites. But I found this one to be just a little bit better, only because it increases power. So the power increase is actually base power. So my base power is you know, 30,000 or so. It's a little more than that, but let's say it's 30,000. It says increases your power by 10%. It increases by 3,000 power, which is around a close to 8% damage. So I get like 8% more damage as opposed to going to stealth quicker by using your counter powers behind the target. I personally get stealth very, very quickly. I don't really have to rely on Return the Shadows at all, so I run Gutterborn instead. Then the choice is Ambush's Haste here, or some people might throw around the choice of maybe Shattering Opportunity. The damage just isn't there. It really, it only hits for like 2,000 every swing. It doesn't really, it's really mostly like a PvP-ish style feat if I had to categorize it. This one's very good. I really usually use Dazing Strike or Whirlwind of Blades when I hit my stealth, or you can even use Lashing Blade or anything of the sort. It gets that damage bonus. It works great for that. And even if you rode your bar with a Duelist Flurry, you don't really see the damage decrease as the bar diminishes. Not really. You'd have to do something slow like Sly Flourish. You'll kind of notice it go down a bit. And once you leave stealth, you'll notice the damage goes back up a little bit because of this here. It actually will fluctuate. It'll go down, then back up just a tad, and then back down. I've done many tests. And then I have one with the Shadows, of course. 15 seconds. Stealth Mirror refills the counter power. For 10 seconds after, your counter powers do 20% more damage. So boons are pretty straightforward. I picked everything that is power. Obviously, anything that has crit I did not take. Anything with recovery I did take, and it's all, you know, offensive stuff. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. My companions are in the Fire Archon or Air Archon as my summon. With I'm trying to get Helig rings. It'd be really cool if I got the leg ones, but no. To hit armor pen cap, you know, I put this one here, and they're all laced up with radiance. In the defense slots, I put darks just so I can try. I hit 20% lifesteal. Does help. I also run the Siege Master Owlbear Cub because it does proc off a smoke bomb and a Dazing Strike. If I did it outside of stealth, I at least get a little bit of bonus. That's mostly just for smoke bomb only. It works great wonders. I also run the Earth one because the damage increases 6% when you're full. I'm usually almost always full. Like running with a group, you're almost always full. And then Wild Hunt Rider, 5% chance to increase your damage by 10% for 5 seconds. It usually almost procs all the time. It was fixed. You could stack it. It could proc multiple times. It does not now, but 10% damage increase is really good. It has a chance to proc off of all the smoke bomb ticks and things of that nature. So let's go to my mounts. Okay, my stable, I run, since I'm high power, high AP gain, I run Artificer's Persuasion and Artificer's Influence. They both work together. This one's 10% of your power, this one's 5% of your power, and what it does is when you use an artifact, your recovery, movement, action point gain, and stamina gain are increased by a total of 15% of my power. And that's where I get most of my recovery from. I like the movement too, and my stamina gain. I used to run an Elven. Enchant for stamina gain, but now I run a Bark Shield, a Trans Bark Shield. I used to also run a Vorpal. I've experimented with many weapon enchants, almost all of them, except for things like Vilethorn and maybe a Terror. I found that Fae is the best because Vorpal's parameters are around crit chance, and there's lots of times I don't crit. Whereas Fae is active, critting, non-critting, non-combat advantage, with combat advantage, doesn't really matter. You're going to get the 18% damage increase. Plus, Smoke Bomb does proc the weapon damage off the Fae. It's one of the only ones that does work besides a Dread that will proc off Smoke Bomb. It's just a little bit more extra damage. It also counts as a group debuff. Help debuff the targets for the group, so they do a little bit less damage. It's just I like the parameters around Fae better than most other enchants, and I've used them all. Whoa, getting blown up here by phone here. So let's go back to mounts. I also run Assassin's Covenant, decrease defense, flesh, and lifesteal by 10%, and increases into power. It totals out to around 2,000 power. Protector's Camaraderie, obviously everyone uses this one. And then I run Shepherd's Devotion. I haven't tried it out there to make sure, but it says whenever your daily power, your teammates' defense, deflection, and movement increase by 5% of your power for 10 seconds. I don't know if it stacks because I can stack my dailies. B, haven't tried out yet to see that if my defense and deflection is increased by those numbers, if Assassin Covenant affects that, and I also get a power increase when I use my daily too. It is possible, not really sure. I can get into it later and test it out some other time. So that's I run the Hammer Forge of Gone, or Forge Hammer of Gone, I mean. Why? Because it is affected by recovery, which is going to be fixed soon. I also have the shard set, and I got Brutality +5 here, and I also run a Halig there too, wishing to get the greater ones. And I run the Sigil of the Hunter because it's power and recovery. Power is my main stat, recovery is a secondary stat. And here we go. So, with that said, let me check the powers I use. I use Dazing Strike. I also slot Smoke Bomb and Impossible to Catch. I used to run Tactics, was one of my main ones, but I do not anymore. I don't need it. My recovery is high enough that I can chain dailies without it. So I run Infiltrator's Actions instead because, again, with combat advantage, you build AP right here. That's the only way you build action points in the first place with the TR is having action point. At combat advantage, you build action points. You build 10% more when you have it, which means when I use my daily for 20 seconds after I have it, it means I can build my daily at all times. Whether I have behind the target, in front of the target, with people, alone, whatever. And then, of course, one of the best ones, Invisible Infiltrator. Increases your damage by 20%, and you get your stealth back when you use daily. Again, I stack my dailies, I get my stealth back, which in turn reduces my cooldowns and reduces my cooldowns again and again and again. And then I run Whirlwind of Blades and Lurkers. I've experimented with some. Lurkers, you don't build action points when you use it. I might try something else. You can't. Courage Breaker is cool. Animation's kind of long. You don't really need it unless the group is having a hard time. You can use Courage Breaker. Bloodbath could be something else you could possibly try to use, so you can build action points. I'm not really sure, but Lurkers Assault during that time you don't build any action points, and since I'm an AP gain TR, it's really hard to get my AP to start filling up again after the Lurkers, which is why I used to use DC Sigil at that time. I do Lurker, seconds over, pop the Sigil, gain my action points again, but the cooldown's 1 minute. This one, even on itself, is 45 seconds. You'll see, even if I use it, it'll be like 30 seconds only. I've gotten it down pretty low, depending on what my power is. Depending on what my power is at the time that I use my artifact, will increase my recovery, which in turn decreases this. And every time you kind of stack it up, it'll keep decreasing this down. 8 seconds. I've gotten down like 8 seconds. I've heard people getting down to 3 seconds. That's the powers I use, the gear, the boons, the mounts, my companions, and I'll go into group targeting right now. So I've done this a few times, but I'm going to show exactly what I do. It's going to be stealth, impossible to catch, smoke. I'm going to wait for because impossible catch can break stealth, but you get the damage increase from ITC, and press the advantage. If you see here, when you use it, you deflect damage. Right here where it says you gain additional 50% damage resistance. 50% damage resistance, actually 400 defense is 1% damage resistance. So technically you get, it's like getting 20,000 defense for the short amount of time if you use it while you're a stealth, which in turn turns into 2,000 power. So I always try to stealth impossible catch to open up, hit the smoke. The smoke is going to proc one with the shadows. Once it procs, I'll stealth daze. A lot of times, see, I almost have a full bar. I'm gonna rotate Whirlwind of Blades in there instead, and somewhere in there I'll rotate Hammer of Gone right after Whirlwind of Blades, so all that power will be it will increase my recovery as much as possible after Whirlwind of Blades and after, you know, my companion will proc bondings and such and such. So here we go. You can just start at willing. Get your guy over there. Stealth, impossible to catch, smoke. Wait till it comes out. Stealth, Whirlwind of Blades, Gong, Daze, impossible to catch, smoke. This is if in Daze, and this is if it's, you know, if there we go, boom, boom, boom. Stealth, smoke again. It did not proc. Oh, there we go. So at wills, ITC again. I can use my hammer if I want. Smoke. Whirlwind of Blades. ITC again if I want. Stealth, smoke. This is kind of like whatever comes up. Usually the group is already dead. You don't have to do much after that. And then Whirlwind of Blades again. Stealth, Gong, Daze. I can ITC, smoke again, Daze and Strike again, Whirlwind of Blades, Stealth, ITC, smoke, this, Daze and Strike again, I can at will, ITC, Daze, Whirlwind of Blades, smoke, Stealth, Gong, Daze, ITC, smoke, Whirlwind of Blades, Stealth, Daze, ITC, Stealth, at wills, Daze, smoke, ITC, Whirlwind of Blades, Stealth, Gong, Daze, ITC, smoke, Whirlwind of Blades, Stealth, Daze, ITC, smoke, Whirlwind of Blades, Stealth, Daze, smoke, ITC, smoke, Gong, Whirlwind of Blades, Daze, ITC, smoke, on and on and on and on I could go. On and on and on if I really, really wanted. That's my rotation for mobs. Obviously, they're not going to be sitting still, and they more likely be dead before you did that many chains to begin with. But that's pretty much it. I start off stealth, ITC, smoke, stealth. Most of the time, Whirlwind of Blades will be up by then. As close as you can see, it's really, really close again. I will use that first before the Dazing Strike because I want to increase the damage of Dazing Strike, empty my AP, so back alley tactics really kicks in there. Plus it'll crit with the Whirlwind of Blades because I was in stealth, and then the Dazing Strike after I stealth again. I can do Dazing Strike, and all that combined will hit all these targets. Now, when I want to single target it, I use Wicked Reminder as opposed to like Lashing Blade and such, because I don't want to use. I'd rather kind of increase the damage of my wills and such as opposed to using my stealth bar on a Lashing Blade or whatnot. And I spend too much time out of stealth that way. And since I have a low crit build, I really want to be in stealth all the time, as much as I can possible. So let's see if I can get this rotation down. I'm going to use Hammer of Gong, even though it's not. Won't get any AP gain out of it. I'm still going to use it anyway to increase the cooldowns of my encounters. So we're gonna pop it now. We're gonna stealth, Gong, Wicked Reminder at first, smoke, and there's a problem right there if you saw it. Lurkers. I'm gonna Duelist Flurry, one Wicked Reminder, Sly Flourish, ITC smoke, stealth, flurry again, Wicked Reminder, and now it's kind of an at-will game. If stuff comes up, you do it. Wicked Reminder lasts 10 seconds. I can just do it every so often just to keep it at 3 stacks. Every time I hit stealth, I'm going to Duelist Flurry. Wicked Reminder one more time. ITC, drop my smoke so I can do the damage is happening while I'm Duelist Flurrying. Lurkers, Duelist Flurry, another Wicked Reminder. Pop the Gong. I'm going to wait for my smoke bomb before I get back in here to do a stealth, Duelist Flurry again. Pop another Wicked Reminder. I'm going to get stealth, Duelist Flurry again. ITC, smoke, Wicked Reminder again just to keep it up. Some at wills while it's building. Another Wicked Reminder just to keep it up. There we go. Lurkers, Duelist Flurry, ITC, smoke, another wicker reminder, pop my gong, stealth, lurkers again, another wicker reminder right when it's over. I see smoke, wait a little bit, I might do another wicker reminder just in case. I got my stealth. I'm going to Duelist Flurry, IGC, smoke, lurkers, stealth, Duelist Flurry, another wicker reminder seconds over, pop my gong. I don't want to go back yet. I want to get my smoke going before I go back into stealth. Did it. Wicker reminder, and so on and so forth. As you know, things are happening, like your the boss does things, you got to move, and so on and so forth. That's technically the rotation. As things come up, you just use it. You want your smoke going at all times. I don't use my smoke in stealth because I don't want it to crit to proc the owl bear. Works great. Wicker reminders just increase bleed damage, smoke damage, my at will damage. I at will outside of stealth with Sly Flourish. When I go into stealth, I do Duelist Flurries. Makes the rotation just a little bit easier for me to move if I want to move. Also, Sly Flourish has the armor breaking, break armor on it on the 4th slice or whatever, 4th hit. It also helps increase damage. And that's it. That's my build. That's all the stuff I'm running right now. This, you guys want an update? That's all of it. I'll be switching. I'll be switching out some gear here soon that I'm going for. Maybe I want to use the Aboleth weapons. I might be getting these to legendary. I'm gonna be switching this once they patch it. I might switch to something else like Red Dragon or back to Sigil. I have the wheel. And then the mounts. I'll see if Shepherd Devotion actually increases your power. I think it should. But we'll see. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. That was my build video. This is the Saboteur Scoundrel build. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it. Post a comment if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next one.